Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean Live Radio Show, featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with host Ginny Sanders,
also known as Ginny Almighty,
who joins Dr. Dean on tonight's program. Phone lines are now open at 602-666-6027. That's 602-666-6027. And we'll be taking your calls from around the world and right here in the USA.
Welcome everyone, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. I'm Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty, and I'll be your host this evening for the next 2 hours, along with the absolutely pinpoint, perfectly precious Dr. Carolyn Dean, who's going to be coming on to tell you the most wonderful, dazzling, and fascinating information about how you can get your body to do the things that you'd like it to do, which is basically provide you with life and life more abundantly, life and form and function and fashion, if you're like me, and you will love what she's going to share because it's easy. And sometimes it takes just a little bit of shifty in the mind to step away from the computer, step away from the media, step away from everything that you've been hearing these last few days. Get grounded, get centered, and breathe that air back into your body and remind yourself, yes, I have what it takes within me to be able to navigate this new environment and to succeed. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. As you may know, and if you're joining us for the very first time, Dr. Carolyn Dean is a medical doctor. She is also a naturopath and an MD. I already said that, a medical doctor, a naturopath, an herbalist, an acupuncturist, a author of many books, including The Magnesium Miracle, one of her most famous and legendary works, now in its third episode or trip around the moon, so to speak, with over 600 medical references in it. She's written on every subject, really, that there is. She's got her Future Health Now encyclopedia, which is incredible. She's got IBS for Dummies. She's got so many women's hormones, women's health. In a couple weeks, we're going to have Dr. Christiane Northrup on. That's going to be a fun time. She's got so much wisdom, ladies and gentlemen, and not only that, but she's just a great teacher. She is such a good teacher. I learn something from her every single week, and I have been doing this radio show with her for over 9 years now, I think, Carolyn, that I have been learning from you, and it never fails. It never fails. I learn something new. That is the height, the breadth, the depth, and the scope of the information and the wisdom that she's got. So she's a great teacher, but I'll tell you one of the greatest things about her, above all, in addition to the fact that she's a great dancer and she grows lovely orchids, is that she is an advocate for the people. I mean, she is power to the people to the nth degree. She wants to see people stand up and take their God-given inheritance and their right to be safe and whole and complete, and to do that through nature, to do that through safe solutions, to do that through easily accommodating strategies that I've seen her teach people how to just sit in their chair and flex their ankles and move their bodies in order to get movement and flexibility and that kind of thing. She's not talking about CrossFit and becoming strenuous and all these other kinds of things. She just knows the most beautiful basic strategies. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We invite you to join us through the phone, 602-666-6027. We invite you to join us on our chat room. You can sign in as a guest, or you can even create a profile and put your picture up if you want to, which is also fun. You can ink with us on our public chat room. And if you're listening to the archive and you have a question for us that we don't cover in today's show, you can email questions, questions, plural questions, at drcarolyndeanlive.com, and we will bring you on your questions next week, or we will answer them throughout the week. The lovely Melody Rose, the Vanna White of Dr. Carolyn Dean's email world, will take care of your questions. Okay. Without further ado, I will say Dr. Dean does not practice medicine on her radio show, but instead she will tell you the things she would do if she were you and in your shoes. And with that, we will bring her on. Welcome, 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 our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean. Hello? Carolyn? Hello? Well, she's here, and I know that she's available. I do not know why I'm not hearing her delicious voice. Carolyn? How very interesting. Very unique. What shall we say about this? We shall say technological error. We shall say, I know Bob is there, and Bob is most likely helping. Oh, there she is. There she is. Hello, hello.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry. I called in on my cell phone, and Bob was supposed to let me in. Of course, he fell asleep and forgot. I'm doing my cell phone because right after this show, I'm doing an Instagram TV show, so I couldn't put the headset on my newly done hair now, could I? So I'm using my cell phone.
Absolutely not.
Earbuds. Isn't that true? And then you had to get Bob to let you in. Turbo bridge problems on your end, Ginny?
Yeah, but we got them straightened out. We're good now.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And I'm still asleep. I'm still asleep.
He's still asleep.
Very good.
Yeah, I should have told you I was coming in on the old cell phone, which is a New York area code. So here I am. All is well.
Make the comment about the kids. The kids were a little more enthusiastic today, is what Ginny didn't hear.
Yes. That's what I said. The kids were very excited. They know we're going to be talking about awesome things. Like I wanted to talk today about how wonderfully we're doing. And I know that
I agree.
Falls afoul of so many people who are having such a horrible time, but this is a dry run for what may happen in the future. Let's build up our ammunition for the future. When you look at what's happened with the flu rotation, I just looked up a few things, Jenny, and in 1968, apparently there was a flu pandemic that killed 1 million people around the world. In 2003, there was SARS, S-A-R-S, a respiratory related virus, another coronavirus. And in 2009, there was H1N1. And, of course, I was involved with the AIDS epidemic. They say the dates are 2005 to 2012, but I was in Manhattan in the early 90s, and we were affected. We were working on alternative therapies for AIDS and chronic fatigue. And now in 2019-20, it's another coronavirus. But I guess you would really have to say what's different now is that the tech body, everybody on their cell phones, on their Instagrams, on their everything, are passing the scare and the fear and the worry to each other like a virus itself. The number of people that are affected by COVID-19 has been reduced by the measures taken by the various governments, and we're happy with that. We could do that every season with the flu that does kill tens of thousands of people. So we really have to pay attention to the fact that we have become so fear-based about this virus, and it really is time to roll that back and take a good look around you, take a look at your own health, your own intake of good food and your sleep, your exercise, all the things that may be impacted by the lockdown. But we have to give thanks for what we have. And, of course, we want more. We want more health. We want a better way of coping. Our blog today that Ginny sent out is about magnesium and anxiety. Even for the worry parts that affect our brain, that affect our adrenal glands, that get our adrenaline pumping, we can use REMAG to lessen that effect. Seriously, it's better than any sort of drug, and I assume the prescriptions for the anti-anxiety drugs, most of them are benzodiazepams. I'm sure they're skyrocketing, but you have to know that those drugs are addictive, and you don't want to get addicted to them. So you owe it to yourself to be taking the REMAG, and you really seriously owe it to all your friends and family who don't know that anxiety is a major symptom of magnesium deficiency. How many times have I repeated our magnesium deficiency survey figures? We've now got about 27,000 people who've answered this survey, and the percentage of people experiencing anxiety has hovered around 67%. It's probably gone higher, actually, in the past few weeks. Insomnia, 66%. Muscle cramping, 51%. Heart palpitations, 47%. Restless legs, 46%. Headaches and migraines, 33%. I mean, these are huge numbers, and these are just people off the street who stumble onto our website, answer these simple questions, and we find out that what we're doing to help you cope with your anxiety, insomnia, cramps, heart palpitations, restless legs, headaches is very much needed, necessary, required. It really is needed by the whole population to be able to saturate yourself with magnesium. So Ginny's blog just references the frightening time we're in with this coronavirus. Now, they are calling it a pandemic, and I don't know if it's been made in the Wuhan lab that the NIH actually funded. We don't know those layers of conspiracy. And whether or not it's a man-made virus or just sort of arose as a mutation of the coronaviruses that are out there already, whether or not your body has to cope with it. And we've had some pretty amazing radio shows in the past month going into the use of our Pico Silver for the virus, using high-dose vitamin C, using fairly high-dose vitamin D, all these things to support the immune system. And we have the archived shows that you can listen to, and we're also going to prepare a clip. It'd probably have to be about a half hour to get in all the information of those three shows. So, frightening times, the uncertainty, the fact that you're attached to your tech body and constantly getting these downloads of information that really don't tell you too much. I mean, President Trump is trying to be positive, and they attack him for trying to be positive. There are measures that are working. Our sources tell us that there are 35 different clinical trials using intravenous vitamin C ongoing in the United States, so that's promising. And the hydroxychloroquine and zinc they're being used to help the zinc get into the cells. to kill the virus. We're putting together a picoionic zinc so that on its own it will be able to jump into cells and kill viruses. So we're taking the measures to get the vitamin D3 and K2, get a good ascorbic acid that we will boost with RNA powder, and to get ascorbic acid with zinc, the pico zinc that we'll bring in, because we know that the cycling of viruses will continue. And although we were quite prepared in terms of having people boost their immune systems the past number of years with our Remag and our multiple mineral that contains zinc and selenium, we've been asking people to take Blue Ice Royal and now realize we need more vitamin D than the Blue Ice Royal seems to be giving us, and that's why we're doing the testing we're doing. We want people to get involved with this home test kit so that you can learn whether or not you're taking enough Remag and vitamin D, and how your thyroid is doing, and are you getting enough omega-3 fatty acids. So we're doing all the groundwork to help support our customer base and our friends and family, and we're getting a lot of great feedback. Last week, David from New York was on the phone saying that he and his wife very nicely survived the COVID virus that they tested positive for with our products, and David was able to get a doctor in New York to give IV vitamin C. So he followed what we've been talking about, and it's just fabulous that we get this feedback. So yes, I'm sort of talking around and through the blog. You can see it. It's I think it's 3 articles down at the homepage of drcarolyndeanlive.com. Ginny quoted from the Magnesium Miracle, where I talk about the anxiety related to the adrenal glands. And I say when the adrenals are no longer protected by sufficient magnesium, the fight-or-flight hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline, become more easily triggered. When they surge erratically, they can cause a rapid pulse, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations. The more magnesium deficient you are, the more exaggerated is the adrenaline release. Magnesium calms the nervous system, relaxes muscle tension, and helps reduce anxiety and panic attacks. And there are more quotes, too, that, millions of people who try unsuccessfully to cope with their problems are medicating with overeating, smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, taking street drugs, and other addictive behavior to suppress their pain. We're a nation suffering a 32% incidence of anxiety, depression, and drug problems. That's ridiculous. A third of the population. So the most important thing to do is saturate with magnesium. The Remag form, of course, is the best absorbed. And we can't, however, forget to talk about the need for the B vitamins. They're in our Realign formula, food-based and methylated Bs. Take care of your blood sugar. A low blood sugar can trigger an adrenaline release and get you in sort of an anxious state as your heart beats harder. When your blood sugar drops, your body releases adrenaline to encourage the stores in your liver, sugar stores in your liver, to be released to get your blood sugar back to normal. But at the same moment, it speeds up your heart, and it makes you think that you're anxious and maybe even have a panic attack. So take care of your blood sugar by not eating sugar. And what's not so good about sugar is that sugar and vitamin C are very much alike in their molecular structure, and sugar will block vitamin C from getting into your cells. When we used to have our Christmas parties back in Toronto with the whole gang of our foster kids and all their family, or friends, all their friends, I should say, we would eat a lot of sugar, but we'd have a big bottle of vitamin C there as the antidote. You want your vitamin C to work properly, but if you're eating sugar, it will bounce your vitamin C. And you have to look at yeast overgrowth, too. The symptoms of the 178 yeast toxins can mimic anxiety and panics, and that has to do with the blood, your sugar intake. Your blood sugar, when it's elevated, will feed the yeast, so you're avoiding sugar, gluten, and dairy. And you want to get enough protein to build your amino acids. The amino acid neurotransmitters that keep your brain happy depend on protein. And, of course, we do have the best protein for you in the form of our Restructure. Best in the sense that it can be a great meal or a great snack. It's handy. You don't have to cook a big steak. But I'm very much promoting animal protein these days because of the neurotransmitters, because you want your amino acids. I think it's very hard to be a strict vegetarian in the midst of all the anxiety going around. And I'd like to see a, quote, study about that. I know a lot of people in the alternative community in Maui are vegetarians, and I see them kind of being very anxious, being very, afraid. And you would think that they would just sort of take it in stride. But is that related to their diet, the fact that they're eating so many carbs, that they're having a lot of sugar in their bloodstream that's bumping their vitamin C? So all these things come to mind when I'm thinking about what's going on, how people are reacting. We want people to be healthy and happy, and you can do that by following the simple guidelines that we lay out in our completement formulas, the yeast detox, and the ketogenic diet. I think those are the basics. So, Ginny, I'm going to go back to you, see what I left out in my ramble there, and we'll either go to chat and phones, or I can do some testimonials, whatever you'd like, Ginny.
Very comprehensive. Let's just talk for just a little pinch of a minute about what you do personally to keep yourself inspired. I mean, if you've conquered your own health landscape and you're confident and joyful in your body, your immune system, you can expect the very best. I think I told you, I saw some people this weekend when we were out walking our neighbors, and he mentioned to me that he didn't feel that he was safe anywhere.
Oh, right.
And not even in his own body, which, to me, I think that's the beauty of what we do, is we do give people the opportunity to know that they're safe in their body, that they have built a fortress of an immune system is a preventative wall. I mean, there's layers to our immune system, starting with our skin and everything. I mean, our cilia and our nose, and all the way through our digestive system, and all the way through to our B cells and our T cells. And I mean, we have layers of protection that you can feel safe and confident. And then beyond that, Carolyn, some people are under financial hardship, because their businesses aren't operating the same way. So how would you keep yourself grounded in that regard?
Yeah, big question. To expand on your neighbor, this gentleman not feeling safe in his own body, see, that's what we've been passing on to our customers for all these many years, that you take responsibility for your own body. You feel your body getting stronger when you take care of it, and therefore you're in charge. So someone that doesn't feel safe, doesn't think their body is protecting them, they're depending on their doctors and their government to take care of them. And as we've said many times, when they listen to all the various back and forth and statements being negated the minute they're said, they don't know who to trust anymore. They get the feeling that the government doesn't know how to take care of this problem. They don't know if there are drugs that are going to help. They keep being told that a vaccine is the only thing that's going to help them, but that's a year away. So all these things that they're downloading constantly from the media and the tech body, looking at their cell phone all the time for the latest news, it's scaring the living daylights out of them. And at this point, the COVID-19 is producing the fatalities that are even less than the common flu. Not to downplay it, but it's also highlighting the fact that older people are getting it, people who already have respiratory diseases. 70%, I think it's 70% of people getting this virus are over age 70, and there's a high proportion of what Carol Baggerly in her vitamin D research and grassroots health calls brown-skinned people. It started in Asia. It's high in the African-American community and Hispanic community. And why do we think that's happening? Because brown skin has a harder time absorbing vitamin D from the sun. And if this population is deficient in vitamin D, then they're going to be more affected by a virus or any sort of infection. That's what could be happening there. So when you know this information, you can protect yourself. And your neighbor, if he'd been listening to us, he would have felt fine in his body. He would have felt healthy, happy, sleeping well, energetic, and all the rest of it. And when you feel like that, you have body confidence, and you know your body's not going to succumb to a virus that, in our world here in Maui, I think there's, maybe 80 people affected in the whole island. And yet, we do the measures, we're following protocol. Everybody is doing that properly as far as I can tell, and it will change the numbers, get us back to work quicker. But once again, I'll say it's like a dry run for, heaven forbid, the next time, so that we can actually meet it sooner, and we will know, hopefully, from the studies that are being done now with the vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc, that we have a big foothold on preventing the population from getting sick. Now, that's not saying what I'm doing. What I'm doing is taking my Completement formulas, and I am taking some extra vitamin C. I'm taking extra D. I've been taking that for a few months now when I learned my vitamin D levels were low. So I'm doing what I'm recommending everybody else do, and continuing to exercise as much as I can, and buy more and more orchids. Buy more and more orchids, Bobby.
You have a week of happiness climax with the longest radio show in the history of humanity. Every Saturday night, 12 hours of happiness, incredible music, incredible arguments, incredible fun, incredible humor, and incredible strange voices from other dimensions. No wonder you're happy. You peak with my show at the end of the week.
And there's my Bob. Yes, I've had people in the long-distance past say to me, when I'm appearing too happy, say to me, well, you wouldn't be this happy if you didn't have Bob. And that is true. Over to you, Ginny.
Yes, and I wouldn't be this happy if I didn't have Bob either. I agree. Bob for president, Bob for the eternal flame of everyone. I agree. Okay, let's go to, first of all, let me just remind everybody, phone call if you're on the line because you want to talk to Dr. Dean this night, and I personally suggest it's a fabulous idea, something that you might want to do. 602-666-6027 is the phone number, and you've got to hit *5 on your keypad. *5 is going to raise your hand in the studio and let me know that you have a question or a comment, and then we'll put you on the line with Dr. Dean so that you can ask her your questions or speak to her about anything that's been going on for you. And also would love to hear from you about how you are doing, what strategies you're all using in our radio show community to sustain yourself, other than, of course, listening to Bob and enjoying his fabulous information. What else are you doing to sustain yourself during this time? So we'd love to get your feedback with that too. Now, Carolyn, we didn't go into our grassroots health. We didn't talk about our doctors. We should talk about a couple of those things too.
Yes, you go ahead on the grassroots health.
Okay. So we do want to remind everybody and invite everybody. Now, this is what, and, again, and I think what Carolyn's saying is totally appropriate. Next cold and flu season, who knows what we're going to be up against. And one of the things that we want to do is have everybody who's within the sound of our voice be totally pinpoint perfectly equipped in their immune system to handle whatever comes down the pike. And so one of the things that you may have heard us talking about is the grassroots health testing. It is a great program, and now even more than ever, something that you may want to take advantage of because it's going to tell you what your vitamin D level is. It's going to tell you what your essential fatty acids are. It's going to tell you what your TSH is for your hormones, and it's going to tell you what your magnesium level is. By participating in this research project, you're going to take an incoming query. You're going to get a monthly assessment ongoing that you'll be able to track your progress, and you're going to get $214 worth of coupons for discounts on our products so that you can saturate and sustain yourself during this time. And what is really important about that is this fall, the last thing you're going to want to do is wonder if you've got enough vitamin D and how's your, magnesium level, and do you have everything you need in order to be prepared from an immune support standpoint. So we really want to encourage you. Now, I've been having my staff do it, and they're kind of surprised with their results. I mean, because their levels may not be all the way they want them to be. And so one of the things you want to do is get on that, get into it, get your results, and then be vigilant about getting your levels the way that they need to be. For sure. Any thoughts on that, Carolyn?
No, it's just reinforcing each week about this testing, and it's a $0 input from you. You pay for the test, but then you get it back in products so that you'll keep doing the products to help us decide if saturating yourself with these products is really helping your health by having you fill out the questionnaires, and then you'll do a second blood test after 6 months and see where you're at. So, so we really, really encourage you to do this, and we have other communities who are pitching in and doing it as well so that we can develop statistics on this type of multi-nutrient testing that no other university, nobody is doing this. They always want to just test one nutrient at a time, as if that's the way the body works. They completely obliterate the validity of their testing by the way that they're running their tests. So this grassroots health project is unique, and you do want to be involved with it. Over to you, Jenny.
It's on tremendous value, and let me just also say, who knows when your doctor is going to open back up their clinic, which is another point about our doctor referral program. And what we've noticed is a strong shift to doctors going to telemedicine. The freedoms that Donald Trump, our president, has given to doctors to be able to do telemedicine and telehealth. They're two distinct different things, I'm finding out, but nevertheless, they are looking for alternatives because they are finding themselves, regardless of the type of practice, they're a podiatrist, it doesn't matter. They need to be able to help their people get immune support. They need their people to be healthy. So if you've got a doctor out there that you are familiar with, that you want them to know about our products, please, please, please let us know. You can email support at rnareset.com. You can email questions at Dr. Carolyn Dean Live, either one, and we will get them a informational kit and help them come on board with making sure that they're carrying the proper nutrients in their office so that they can make sure that their patients are equipped with the same immune support that we're offering here on the radio show. It's really exciting to be able to educate doctors because they're scared, and some of them are clueless, right, Carolyn?
Right. And that's a good point, Jenny. Your doctor may not come back into his or her office. If you think about it, the alternative medicine type of practice is very expensive to maintain. I knew doctors in New York who said that 80% of the income they earned went to overhead. 80%. All the customer service people, the rent and everything. There's going to be a large percentage of doctors who just aren't going to go back because it is so expensive, especially if they've got a taste of telemedicine. And for those doctors, we're actually instituting dropship programs so they can tell their patients to get their supplements from us, and we mail them out to the patient and then give the doctor their fee for referral. So all that is very important to keep the economy going for these doctors who, I mean, they're out of work just like everybody else.
Yeah, the impact on the healthcare industry for this COVID thing is incredible. I mean, on the top floor, there's people up there with the coronavirus patients, and on the bottom floor, it's a ghost town because nobody wants to go to the hospital anymore, as Carolyn, you so succinctly predicted early on, that people would stop going to the hospital. And so now doctors have to find a way to reach their patients and be able to provide them with the health maintenance things, and the shift in health maintenance has definitely moved from being a more of an elective one to one of a more of a mandatory one, that you better have some serious immunity in your body. So, and this ties in with all of Carolyn's protocols, and people who are prone to infection and that kind of thing with the candida, people who are mucousy and that kind of stuff with wheat, dairy allergies and these kinds of things. These are all things that Carolyn has talked about for years. So she's uniquely qualified to support doctors in ways that they may not have anticipated needing that support. So we invite you to let us know who they are. We will happily partner up with them and help them be empowered by their current situation and support them in what they want to accomplish with their people that they're reaching out to.
Right. Very good.
Another thing that we have that's so incredibly exciting is, and by the way, thank you, everyone. We're so excited to hear what happens with your Mighty Mash. We blew through hundreds of bags of Mighty Mash in like 24 hours. It was so crazy. We didn't think it was going to be that popular. It was so funny. So they went in and they cranked out, I think, another 100 bags. And so we have 100 bags on there, and then it's gone. It really is gone for sure. So thank you, everybody, for ordering the Mighty Mash. It's so exciting to see. I've already gotten people texting me their pictures of what their gardens they already planted their gardens. They're home. Nothing to do. Their Mighty Mash shows up, and there goes their garden. So we're thrilled to be able to see what's going to happen with that. Right, Carolyn?
Oh, yes. It's so exciting. I mean, when Houston and I did the radish experiment, we were just thrilled with the results. I mean, they were almost unbelievable. But over the years, as people put the dregs of their RNA drops in their watering cans and did this and that, with our products, they've been having incredible results. But this is a way that people can document what's going on, and we can pass this information along to others and see where we're going to go with the Mighty Mash. I want it. Well, as Ginny says, I'm always for the consumer, for the individual consumer. You know, some people would have me sell it to some big conglomerate, but what's the point? We want the people to have this information, these products, and this Mighty Mash. So that's what we're committed to.
Yeah, very, very fun. So if you didn't get yours, you can run on there and grab a bag or two for your own garden, and then, like I said, it'll be gone. It'll probably just be a seasonal offering, but it's very, very fun. So everybody got their Mighty Mash, and then what was the other thing? Oh, I was going to say, our referral candy program is still very popular, and what I love about it is you can get 15% off your products every month by referring somebody, and now is the easier time than ever. I mean, people's listening, their opening for safe solutions is beyond the beyond because they're so confused about what's going on. I saw somebody say that the best thing to do for the coronavirus is social distancing from the media. Just stay away from all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Oh.
So people are asking, you're telling, they order, you get 15% off your next order, and it'll give you a great opportunity to stay in a constant supply of the products and have those discounts as well. So that's exciting too, Carolyn.
Right, and think of what you just said, Ginny. When you're talking to someone over, maybe it's over whatever, Snapchat or Instagram or FaceTime, and they're saying, oh, I'm so upset, I don't know what to do. You just tell them, well, this is what you do. Do this. And you've stopped the conversation from being about it's hopeless, we're helpless, to doing something that you know is going to be beneficial, gives the other person something to grab onto, gives them some hope, and of course once they get the products they'll start feeling better and thank you and then pass it on. So it's a very positive way to engage with your friends and family right now by giving them something to do. So yes, I know this is sounding like a big commercial in the sense that these are our products, but at the same time, if we didn't own this company, we would be telling you to do this anyway, because it's just so necessary to have your immune system strong, as a strong base, so that you can approach, the next, as Ginny says, the next flu season. You see, my concern is that people who are doing so much of the Clorox-based hand sanitizers and wiping everything down, we're actually making it harder and harder for our bodies to develop natural immunity with whatever, little bugs or dirt or whatever is in our environment. And this is what got us into the position, you could say mostly in our gastrointestinal tract, of throwing the microbiome out of balance because we killed off our good and bad bacteria with antibiotics, and then we fed the remaining yeast with a lot of sugar, and we threw everything out of balance there. We caused the leaky gut with the yeast climbing into the small intestine and poking holes. And as our friend Zach Bush says, he's a gut specialist, and he says that glyphosate, the Roundup, Monsanto Roundup, that's killed our tight junctions between the cells in the gastrointestinal tract. He also says alcohol will do that. Drinking alcohol will destroy the tight junctions. I think the alcohol is related to yeast overgrowth. I'd say yes, there's glyphosate, there's the alcohol, there's chemicals, antibiotics, and yeast overgrowth. There's a lot that's affecting our gastrointestinal tract. And I know we've been 2 years getting our Flora Revive up and running, and we'll be having it fairly soon, and that's going to be very helpful for balancing out the microbiome, making the gastrointestinal tract healthier, so that it supports our immune system by blocking foreign invaders, by blocking yeast toxins, and by supporting a healthy immune system where 90% of your body's serotonin is produced. Serotonin is the feel-good neurotransmitter. I guess everybody used to think it's just produced in the brain, but it's mostly produced in the gut. So when you mess up your gut with all the synthetic food and the chemicals and the preservatives and the junk that we feed it, it's not going to be able to do its job. So all these things, although I don't want to be too much of a fanatic, but I am working on the Flora Revive book now, and I see the importance of the gut. I mean, we've known that. I've been focused on yeast for decades because I know that interferes with gut health. So yes, we're working on the Flora Revive to get that to you as well. That will help support your immune system at the level of the gut. So,
hey, Carolyn.
Very excited. Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, I'm issuing a challenge. I'm attempting to break the World Guinness records for the most uninformed person on the planet, and I'm getting quite close to the most uninformed person, except for this show, but everything else. And so I challenge someone to beat my record of becoming uninformed of all the stupid crap out there that you look at.
I don't know, Bob. That doesn't make any sense to me. But
well, no, you don't want to be. There's nothing to be informed about. There's too much contradictory. If you read and process information seriously, you won't be able to make a conclusion.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Unless you come here, there seems to be something supporting what goes on this show, like maybe the truth.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
Over to you, Jenny.
And do we have any updates on Flora Revive, Carolyn?
I think the last testing is coming through tomorrow, and then they're going to be able to bottle it and probably ship it within a couple of weeks, and then we have to do more testing. The testing that goes on is very important, people. If you see products coming on the shelves overnight, you know they haven't been tested. When you look for products, if you feel you need something more than our products, you ask them for a certificate of analysis, because that's what keeps products safe, keeps you safe from products, because now that we are promoting in the alternative medicine community, promoting the various vitamin Ds and Cs and zinc, etc. You're going to see a real upsurge in these products being available, but you have to be careful whether or not they're safe and clean.
Yep, absolutely. That's it.
Yep.
Serious truth right there. Yep. So we're saying May. We've said a lot before, but we're saying May, and we're saying soon. So everybody hang in there. And when it happens, it'll probably shift the world on its axis. I mean, we've been talking about it for so long. We will celebrate it like nothing else has been celebrated, boy. I'll tell you what. It's funny. Okay, very good. And what else do we want to talk about? We've got a few minutes to the top of the hour. 602-666-6027 is the number that we'll use to take phone calls. If you're on the line and you want to talk to Dr. Dean, you've got to hit *5 on your radio. One of the questions that somebody typed in for you, Carolyn, Joanne from Washington, why does Dr. Dean prefer lichen over lanolin for vitamin D? And where do you currently buy the lichen vitamin D?
Well, I don't know, Joanne. When I hear that it's lanolin from sheep hair, it just makes me kind of gag a little bit. And apparently the molecular structure of the D from plant lichens is the same as from animal sources. So I just go for the plant lichens, and I just get mine on Amazon from, I think, Natrello, is it called, Ginny? N-A-T.
Yep.
N-A-T, I have it up here somewhere. N-A-T-U-R-E-L-O. We don't know them. We're going to come up with our own vitamin D3 and K2 as soon as we can get source the materials. Again, because we want to make it with all the testing, all the certificates of analysis that the FDA requires for good manufacturing practices. So
and we want to make it with our super secret sauce, ma'am, because we've got our RNA reset drops powder in it, and just like we do with the whole C, it'll be in the Flora Revive. And you think about that Mighty Mash radish experiment, every little bit of that asset is going in, and so helpful. We've got it in the Restructure. You were going to pick it up through the RNA drops. You've got it through the Renew face cream. So all those, assets, energetic and, physical assets are coming into your body and supporting you in your transformation and your empowerment.
Mm-hmm. In the book, Ginny, the Flora Revive book or booklet, I've been calling the RNA powder human fertilizer.
Ah, awesome. That's brilliant.
Yeah, because the fertilizer that we used on the radishes, it gave a life force to the plants, and our human fertilizer of our RNA drops and RNA powder gives a life force to the body. And when you have a strong life force, you cannot be attacked. Your body will not allow viruses, bacteria, yeast, parasites to take hold. And that's what's happening with our customers. Like this, let me quickly go over this testimonial before the break. I'm a 45-year-old woman. I've lived a lot of my life in Africa. We had very, very limited options on food. She says she moved here, tried to eat better, but's been having migraines for at least 10 years, leg cramps at night, restless legs. My heart would beat very rapidly from time to time, all of which I just ignored. I never knew that I was missing magnesium. I ended up in the emergency room 7 weeks ago with acute chest pain that had gone on for a week, rapid heartbeat, breathlessness, feeling like I'd passed out, inability to sing without being very dizzy. After $6,000 worth of tests, the hospital found nothing wrong. She puts that in caps. All the symptoms persisted. She could only just lie in bed all day. And then someone told her, well, she was put on metopropol, something to slam, a drug, a beta blocker to slam down her heart rate. And then a massage therapist said she got God whispered intracellular magnesium deficiency. This woman looked it up, found our product, started taking it 13 days ago, and she says, I'm telling you, it is a miracle. Within 3 days, I was only having chest pain about 2% of the time. Within 4 days, no rapid heartbeat, no chest pain. Day 5. Anyway, it just, seriously, 13 days ago, and now she's probably 90% better.
Awesome. We'll be right back, everybody. Hour 2 coming up.
Along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break.
You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
What city plays?
The old categories. They don't apply anymore. And we're just superhuman, discarnate things right now.
What city plays?
We're well beyond the categories for men and women right now. And we're just superhuman, discarnate things right now.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
I do advocate immediate fast to bring back the body.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
AchieveRadio.com.
We return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast at 602-666-6027. At 602-666-6027.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Hour 2 live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. So happy you've joined us this evening. Wanting to take your calls at 602-666-6027. If you're on the line and you have a question or comment for Dr. Dean, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad. *5 will raise your hand in the studio and let me know you have a question or a comment. Otherwise, your phone remains on mute and we don't know you're there. And right now, I don't see any waving hands. So if you're on the phone and you haven't been successful in letting us talk to you yet, it's because you haven't hit that *5 yet. Now I see some waving hands. All right, very good. So, Carolyn, let's take some phone calls, shall we?
Okie dokie, but let's just finish up COVID with this. Hi, Ginny. Just a quick note to say thank you to Dr. Dean, you, and the rest of the RNA Reset crew. I've been on the supplements for years. I feel healthy, strong, and educated. I feel like I have an immune system that will scare the crap out of not just COVID-19, but all viruses. Thank you, and please pass my thanks to Dr. Dean and the rest of the crew. That's from Roger. And so that's what we want. That's what we got.
Amen. Yeah, that's right. Roger's a great guy. He has been with us forever, and He's done great. He lost a lot of weight doing intermittent fasting in Dr. Dean's keto program. He's been on the drops forever. He was restored so much of his body. He's got incredible joy and passion for life, and it's wonderful, wonderful to have him as a customer. So many of our customers. I mean, we just have the best customers in the whole wide world. So thank you, Roger, for sending that in. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, shall we press on?
Yes, press on.
Okay, the great state of Michigan, area code 313. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hello, this is, am I unmuted?
You're
Hello?
good. We can hear you.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yes. My name is Jonathan. I have a 313 area code, but I actually live in California. I'm calling because I had a few questions. I don't know how many I can ask, but the main thing was I've been on the yeast detox for about 5 months, maybe about 4 months now, and I read the book, and I've actually been I've communicated with Dr. Dean through email through the support platform, and I wanted to know. You specifically talked about not excluding like organic butters like completely, or brown rice completely, or potatoes completely, but I felt like my symptoms of yeast overgrowth were so extreme that for me it felt safer for me to just kind of like stick to the yeast-free foods only, and I've been doing that for months. And I'm curious if when I introduce that food back into my diet, like even potatoes every now and then, am I making it harder by not having that food in my diet at all? Am I going to make it harder for myself?
I don't think so, Jonathan. I mean, what you're trying to do is starve out all the different levels and layers of yeast. I used to think that like the monster yeast, the real tough guys would hang out until you got sloppy and started feeding them. But after about 4 months, what I look at it as an experiment where you have a meal with some carbohydrates, like you say, the potatoes or something like that, and see how you feel. Where you get into trouble is if you'll eat them every day then for a week. Think, I ate them once, I'm good, I can have them every day. But you're not going to do that because you know that would just accumulate the carbs. So when you start going back on some carbs, you just maybe eat a carb food every 3 days, and then give your body a chance to starve whatever yeast got fed. I mean, all of this is just kind of speculation, Jonathan. We don't know exactly what's going on, but, I've seen people who describe their symptoms like you're saying, I was just too sensitive. And that's what you have to do, be real strict. But then when you put the food back, just go slowly and see how you feel.
Okay. Great. I had just a few more quick questions, but if I can't answer, that's fine. I'll call again another day and ask.
No, you go ahead, Jonathan. Every time a person asks a question, a couple hundred people get the answer. So we appreciate any questions.
Okay, thank you. The other question was, I don't know if you remember my case, but I was talking to you at the end of last year through email. And I had so much yeast overgrowth that when I first started with magnesium, I had die-off, a lot of die-off.
Right.
Yeah, and so you told me to basically try the yeast diet, and I did, and it's worked. I thought it was impossible, but I take I take 2 teaspoons of magnesium a day through the lotion, so that I was told that's 6 pumps a day.
Yeah.
And wow. I feel great, but it took me a long time to get here because of how much yeast built up. But my question is, since Corona's going on, and I know that Remite is a complementary mineral or supplement with magnesium, and it's good for the immune system. I'm just wondering if, since I'm still doing the yeast detox right now, and I'm still not all the way recovered, is there any stories you've heard of people taking Remite like magnesium and having like other side effects that kind of make themselves feel worse, or Remite doesn't work exactly like magnesium in that way? Just curious.
Right. Yeah. It's a good question, and we have not had that type of die-off of yeast or anything comparable to the way the Remite can sort of get your immune system going. We haven't had that with the Remite. The Remite minerals are low potency. I made them all really kind of low, and so it could slowly build up. So perhaps if someone took high dose, it would stir things up. But no, we haven't had that reaction. Yeah, you're right. It's a good time to start the Remite. But, Jonathan, you're going to start with a quarter teaspoon like you tried to do with the Remag liquid. And, yes, we have seen that with the Remag liquid. People will start taking it, and then the yeast will be killed off, and then all the yeast toxins, there's 178 of them, they'll start flooding the system, and you're already feeling bad. You're already in total body meltdown, and then you do that, and you feel horrible. So you did great by going to the Remag lotion. You got that into your system, and it didn't upset your detoxification. So good for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm really on a journey of overall healing. You've really saved my life in many ways, and I appreciate that. And so basically taking Remite and magnesium, and possibly if I'm still on the detox with the bentonite and the psyllium seed and all of that, taking a full dose, the highest dose recommended of Remite and the highest dose of magnesium, which is 2 teaspoons in most cases, they're not going to clash. Like I can take the highest amount of Remite and the highest amount of magnesium together without any issues.
Oh, yeah.
In most cases. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's been proven over and over and over again. There's no problem there. So, and you can always call us up and ask. I remember you. In the beginning, golly, you went through heck, but you hung in there. So it's great. I'm really proud of you. That's wonderful.
Thank you. I know I had, it was a lot, but that's why I'm so confident in the magnesium, because I know you could tell through the emails that my confidence level in me being able to get past this was kind of shot, but I kept with it. And now, because I have that confidence in your products, I still buy what is it? Not Revive. I'm still waiting on that, the Floral Revive, but it's the other, the methylated B product that you sell.
Realign. Yeah.
Realign.
I
still take that. I take magnesium, Realign, Pico Silver, all of it. And I only take the Pico Silver within the magnesium, the yeast protocol, but still, I really feel great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so the last few questions, I just want to ask you, as far as you have a lot of minerals in Remite, and a lot of times people say you can get this stuff, like if you go to a farmer's market, you could get this stuff in your food, like in really good foods. Do you feel like Remite at some point, if you're eating and getting the minerals that you need anyway from the food and what you eat, that it could clash somehow where you're having too much of those minerals in your body at once? Or Remite won't have an issue. The healthier, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, there are 2 ways of looking at that. First, the soil is pretty empty of the minerals now. You don't see farmers putting back a dozen different minerals. They put in potash. They put nitrogen. They're not putting magnesium. They're not putting copper and manganese. They're just not doing that. So you're not getting these minerals in the food at all. The example I have is these young kids going on their 40 ounces of green drink, and they're just shocked when they get heart palpitations and leg cramps from magnesium deficiency. So you're not getting it in your food. And like I said, I made Remite with low potency but well-absorbed minerals so that the body could sort what it needs. We just give them the building blocks, and the body figures it out. So you'll never get toxic on Remite. And like I said, it's just not in the foods. I'm supporting a biodynamic organic farm up country here in Maui, and I can't live off just off their food. I get heart palpitations if I try to get all my minerals out of the food I eat. So I know it's not there. It's just not there. And what is it? It's a stress we're having to deal with. The pollution in the atmosphere, the body constantly having to detoxify what's going on out there. We need more and more minerals than we ever did.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Right.
So that gives me, so what that tells me is I want to start Remite, because the next time that I do I purchase a lot of your products, I want to go ahead and add Remite to that list. And that's why I asked all these questions.
Yeah.
And so, and with that, I want to get vitamin C. I was wondering, do you sell a product with vitamin C in it? Because I know you said we need vitamin D and C.
Right. Yeah, a while back we put up a whole C reset, and it's food-based vitamin C with our RNA powder added to it as a catalyst, and that just flew off the shelves, and then we got caught in the vitamin C depletion worldwide, where we couldn't get the raw materials anymore. So we're waiting on our next order. We ordered 30,000 bottles. And so that's coming in the next month or so. And we're also going to put up an ascorbate C. That's going to have the RNA powder too, because the ascorbates, that's one form of the vitamin C complex. That's the one that's focused on viruses. And I'm saying people probably need to take a couple grams of that. So, yeah, vitamin C is going to be important.
And vitamin D, as you said.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, continue. No, I was just going to say, and you also said on Amazon, Naturalo, what I heard you say earlier, vitamin D, plant-based, like that brand is of the good vitamin D supplement to take.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the one we're going to try to match that in our product. But see, with our products, we put in the RNA powder. Do you know my radish experiment, Jonathan, where we put the RNA powder comes from, it's a concentrate of the RNA reset drops. They come from germinated barley sprouts. The liquid is squeezed out of the barley sprouts, and then we dry it and make a powder. Well, what's left over, the dried up barley sprouts, that's like straw, we're using that as a fertilizer. We call it Mighty Mash. And when I had the farm up country, dig that into the radish, with the radish seeds, we produced one lot of 85 pounds of perfect radishes. They were just to die for. And the other lot, the comparison lot, produced 3 pounds. So 3 pounds compared to 85 pounds with our mash. Now, the one that didn't have the Mighty Mash, it didn't have any fertilizer, nothing. It was just dead, the soil. And yeah, I was going to say dead. It's like the soil wasn't alive enough to protect the plants against the worms and parasite and bugs and weeds. So there's a video up of that on YouTube that talks about it. So what we do with most of our products, Ginny was saying earlier, we put in this RNA powder to give the life force to our products and then to our customers to make their bodies so alive and healthy and radiant that it just doesn't attract viruses. It just, there's no room to grow viruses and parasites and worms and whatnot. They will only attack a weak and dying organism. So we just keep ourselves alive and healthy and radiant, and that's what protects us from parasites or infection.
So RNA powder, vitamin D, and vitamin C are three things that you would recommend. I know you're going to have the whole C recently in a month, but those are the three things in the midst of this coronavirus that you would say help us defend, as well as remite and magnesium and all of that. But vitamin D, vitamin C, and RNA powder is what you're saying?
Yeah, D, C, and then there's silver, which you already know about, right, Jonathan?
Right. Mm-hmm. I have pico silver.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the three big things. And if you listen to the past month of shows, we had Robert Scott Bell on talking about silver. We had Carol Baggerly on talking about vitamin D, and we had Dr. Tom Levy on talking about vitamin C. And, they all make great cases for the use of these different supplements. And I'm saying, well, let's use a bit of all of them. Don't just go high dose on one. Let's do a bit of all of them and help the body, every which way.
Okay, great. Now, these last two, and I'm going to let anybody else, these are just last two questions because you have so much knowledge. I just want to ask these last two questions and I'm done here. Okay. I appreciate your time, too.
Thanks.
So you said in your book to properly add up the yeast score in the questionnaire, the first time you take it, you use the first section as well, which is your past history, and then the other two sections are more so what you use consistently when you take the test over and over again. My only question, what finally popped in my head was the test, the Word document that you had your team send to me that has the test score that you go off of, the total amount, it still seems to be based off of when they tell you you need to keep taking a yeast protocol or not. It's based off of adding in section 1, even though you only do it the first time. So I'm wondering, if I never add in section 1 again, what is the proper total score for me to determine how much yeast I have if I have to disregard that section after the second and third and fourth time I take it? Test.
No, you just add in that. It's just to say that score is always going to be static. It's always going to be the same. It's not going to switch. But rather than making all the different, this is the number for this is the number for that, it's just, the total score will change and improve as you improve, but you don't have to redo the first part after the first time. That's all.
I get it. Okay, that makes sense. Perfect. That helps me. And then the last question was, if I get rid of yeast overgrowth, according to the symptoms in the questionnaire, I don't have any symptoms. I stay away from antibiotics for the most part unless I'm in some life-threatening situation or something, with minimal to no symptoms for years, right? After I had the issue previously. But if I, for years, go on and don't really have any other symptoms, do I have a greater chance of getting yeast overgrowth again than someone who never really had an extreme problem with it because I used to have it? Am I always kind of at risk to some degree because I had it 3, 4, 5 years ago?
I think so. I hope that turns around, Jonathan, when people take the Flora Revive, because in it I have Saccharomyces boulardii, which is good antifungal, anti-yeast probiotic. So I'm hoping that people can build up their immunity against yeast overgrowth. But see, the thing of it is, if you've had yeast and you're overcoming it and then you just don't want to get it again, I think it makes you more aware and more wise about your health, and you don't want to overdo glutens and sugar and alcohol and non-organic type dairy. Because, I mean, now on the keto diet, I'm doing my cheese and my heavy whipping cream, and it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my yeast. And I used to have yeast, I will tell you. So I know about this stuff. So I think people can overcome it. But I know, Jonathan, when I start to do a couple of desserts here and there, and I still eat a fair bit of fruit, I will get little tiny staphylococcal bacteria boils in my nose as a side effect of yeast overgrowth. I got them when I first started doing hospital work when I was training, because it's rampant in the hospitals. And when you have yeast overgrowth, staphylococcal bacteria gain an upper hand because your immune system is, I guess, distracted with the yeast. So that's my tell of getting too much yeast. And then, boom, I back right off. Other people, I mean, what would it be? Maybe some gas and bloating, maybe a coated tongue. Maybe your partner says your breath is bad. There's something that it's good to know what your tell is, and that's part of doing that questionnaire, where you see all the symptoms, and when you start to build up the mucus or you get a bit of sinus symptoms, you say, oh, there's my yeast, and you back off. You just be smart. That's all.
Okay, perfect. That answers all my questions. I appreciate that. And you said I can get the RNA powder online for the immune system stuff?
No, the RNA comes in a form of drops, liquid drops. It's our RNA reset drops.
Oh,
and,
okay.
So that's, you've seen that. So that's how you get your life force drops. And then what we've done is we take part of we have 3 huge drums. Maybe Ginny knows how big those drums are, in which we grow 3 sets of 400 pounds of barley seeds every 3 or 4 weeks. And when we squeeze the drops out, and then part of those drops we dry and make into a powder. And it's that powder we put in our Restructure, Whole Sea Reset, Flora Revive. What else are we putting it in, Ginny? I forgot.
Restructure?
Restructure, Whole Sea Reset. We'll put it in our ascorbic acid. We'll be putting it in our D3K2. We're going to call it D3K2 Reset. And so people are, even if they don't take it in the RNA drops, our people are going to get it anyway, because we want them to have that catalyst, because we think it's so life-giving. But, we can't, we don't have science to say you have to take this. We have the radish experiment, which a lot of people say, oh, man, if it does that with the radishes, I'm going to take it. So, we're on a mission to get people their immune system strong and their life force built up. That's our mission. Right, Ginny?
Yeah, absolutely, 150,000%. That is what we are about. Bam, bam. You bet.
Thank you.
Okay,
And
Jonathan.
you've already done so much for me. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And Jonathan, isn't this the first time you've come on? I mean, all our other exchanges have been by email, correct?
This is the very first time. Yes.
Look at that. Well, you sound awesome and healthy and happy, and I'm proud to be working with you. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you so much. Oh, there's no known side effects of RNA reset drops, right?
No, they can just make you a bit too happy, though, so go easy.
Oh, well, hey, okay. Thank you. All right, then.
Okay, Jonathan. Okay, bye,
all right,
sweetheart.
you take
Bye-bye.
care.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Wonderful. Great call. Excellent, outstanding. Let's go on to area code 612. Area code 612, you're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, this is Amy. And I had a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, great. I just recently turned 50, and I'm taking the Remite and Remag, probably not enough for the symptoms I have going on. I have been experiencing extreme anxiety, hypervigilance. The biggest thing I wanted to ask about is the acid reflux that I have and the hiatal hernia I've had for probably the last 20 years. I don't take any medications for it. I've had adjustments with the chiropractor. They told me my stomach muscle doesn't work properly, so I'm really not digesting food well now. My weight's really low. My adrenals are also affected, and then I have an autoimmune. And so the biggest thing is I'm not digesting food well, and it affects my eating and sleeping. So when I wake up at night, I'm pretty much, choking at times on my own, phlegm, and I can't lay down properly. And so the biggest thing is wanting to be able to eat because I love to eat, and now I fear eating. So.
Right. Okay, so in my Future Health Now encyclopedia, free download at drcarolyndeanlive.com, I have an entry about hiatus hernia and how you can learn to massage it. I'm happy you've gotten to a chiropractor about it because they can really help, but you can also do your own. But couple things I'd say. I would get increase your Remag to even 3 teaspoons a day. Just gradually build it up because that will help your stomach muscles get balanced enough to be able to do their work. I would also get Remag lotion and rub it on my, the epigastric area and across the top. Of my stomach to get those muscles. Part of a hiatus hernia is your diaphragms can go into spasm, and I'm sure your chiropractor works on them, but ask your chiropractor which way you can massage across your diaphragms to keep them in place. But the Remag lotion will help those diaphragm muscles. I can hear Ginny's brain clicking, and she's never talked about this before. This is something new. Right, Ginny? Okay. And the weight load, the adrenals, all that. When I hear autoimmune, I'm thinking yeast overgrowth. And the phlegm and everything. You've cleared your throat a number of times already, so you've got the phlegm going.
I do. A lot of drainage in my nose at night as well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I'd be working on the yeast detox. Go to our radio archive on the vitamin C show. Ginny will look up what date that was. What date in March? Might be the 23rd. On that show, Dr. Levy talked about using hydrogen peroxide in a nebulizer to help kill yeast. And Jonathan, I forgot to mention that. I haven't done it myself yet, but Dr. Levy has been working with hydrogen peroxide and gave that out. And I think there was, Ginny, wasn't there an article that we put up about hydrogen peroxide and yeast and using a nebulizer? It's quite interesting because a nebulizer, you see, would help you with your sinuses as well as helping yeast elsewhere. Of course, I'd be using a neti pot with Pico Silver. When we had Robert Scott Bell on the show a week before Dr. Levy, he was talking about using silver in a neti pot, but he said he wouldn't use saline. But I checked into that, and our chemist says that it's okay to use saline along with Pico Silver. It doesn't sort of neutralize it because when you use a neti pot, you want to have a saline solution so that it just goes in very calmly with no irritation. If you use plain water in a neti pot, it just hurts. So there's I would do 2 teaspoons of pico silver in a neti pot with a couple of ounces of saline, and use that to treat what's probably yeast overgrowth in the sinuses. And that's probably enough to go on right now. The extra Remag will help your anxiety, and yeah, there's these layers that happen when people get into anxiety state, and then you're tense. What happens when you're anxious and tense, you breathe high up in your lungs, and that makes your diaphragms jump up a bit.
Right.
It's being able to take those deep breaths. When you take a deep breath and your stomach pushes out, that means you're pushing your diaphragms down and putting them in the position where they keep your stomach from jumping up into a hiatus hernia. So breathing exercises.
Okay. And I was going to also ask, do you know much about digestive enzymes and whatnot? I've taken many different supplements, but, I don't. I've heard apple cider vinegar now and then, and some people say it isn't good, but I just wanted to build up the hydrochloric acid as well in my stomach. I'm sure that's low with all the stress, but I don't know. Yeah.
I know. That's one area. I've never found a good digestive enzyme. Hydrochloric acid is better. So if you take something at the end of a meal, it should be, at this point, should be hydrochloric acid, but I really have, not, I was going to say not good experience with digestive enzymes. I just haven't had any experience. I haven't found that they work that well, pancreatic digestive enzymes. Hydrochloric acid works a bit. I have used a bit of apple cider vinegar, but it actually irritated me after a while. I think maybe apple cider vinegar capsules might be helpful for people to, slowly influence their digestion. But it does start from the mouth, where you chew really well and slowly, so that your food goes down digested into as much as possible into your stomach. If you find your bowel movements have particles or food or bits of green in them, you're not chewing your food well enough. That's where it starts. And no liquids with the meals. And you can look up all the digestion chapters or sections in Future Health Now Encyclopedia and get a lot of input. And I know you know a lot already, but I'm just trying to pull it all together.
Oh, sure. And then the other question I had was, do you know much about, I have a cracked tooth right now, and due to the whole pandemic, there's not, you really can't go to the dentist. But I have removed all the silver fillings in my mouth, but I do have a porcelain, I have a porcelain crown, but then I have the fillings that have cracked out, and I don't know either if the tooth stuff can affect your digestion, but I've been pretty diligent on cleaning and such. So,
right. Well, with the mouth, it's good when you take your pico silver to actually rinse, hold that in your mouth and rinse through your teeth and everything.
Okay.
I know when I had to get a recent root canal, I got the endodontist to syringe pico silver into the base of the root canal. So that's what I'm telling people to do to help their gum health, etc. We have so many people that'll tell us on our products their receding gums fill in, and with the RNA drops in the beginning, we even had people saying that different hairline cracks in their teeth would fill in. But that's not something that I know for sure.
Right, exactly. Okay, and then the last two questions are, can you, as far as like water, I know I don't get enough water per day in because my stomach burns and then the bloating feeling, and so as far as water, I know there's so many different recommendations on what to do because you can't really drink the tap water with the chlorine and stuff, but do you have like a recommendation if you can't get all that water in? I mean, I do teas as well someday, a really good tea, but then that's not plain water. So,
well, when you put the sea salt in it, do you still have that problem?
You know, I don't typically. I have sea salt, but I haven't put it in diligently. No, so that's a good idea. Okay.
Oh yeah, that will change it because what's happening with just plain water, which has no more minerals anymore, then your body just sort of tries to scoop minerals out of your stomach lining to balance out that the lack of minerals in the water to help with the pH. It's just working overtime. But if you put a quarter teaspoon of sea salt in a liter of drinking water, then your body will say, "Oh, this is normal saline. This is like the blood. This I do. This I'm happy with." And as for water, I've been recommending a guy, Jeff. Let me see if I can find this. For water filters, he sells retail to the customer, or he sells wholesale to the customer. His website is pureearth.com. pureearth.com. And so I trust his filters are not expensive. And, you know, if you want to get rid of chlorine, if you've got fluoride in your area, ask him what he would recommend to get rid of the fluoride. Okay, last question.
Okay. Yes, the grassroots testing. How do I sign up for that as well? Yeah.
You go to rnareset.com and click on research at the top.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate everything. Really look forward to more healing with the products. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Carolyn, can I just add also, too, that remember you had that great conversation with Dr. Roby Mitchell last year? Well, actually, now it was 2 years ago. When he came on the show and you guys did that whole huge wrap on digestive stuff, and maybe that would be beneficial to Amy. So if you go back through our archives, our radio show archives, and look for Dr. Roby Mitchell in the first hour, he and Carolyn go through quite a bit about magnesium's relationship to digestion and stuff, and it was really good.
Okay, great. Roby Mitchell in the archives. Okay.
Yep.
R-O-B-Y. He was named after his mother. So cute. Okay, Amy, good questions. We got a lot done.
Thank
you. Got a
you.
lot of information out there. Okay, great. Thank you, sweetie. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Let's press on with our important agenda this evening, and we'll continue to take our phone calls from area code 575. 575, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
My name's John. What do you guys know about eyes?
That's a very leading question. Yeah. Let's go for the details, John. What do you got?
Well, several years ago, I actually had hyperthyroidism. And that was resolved through allopathic medicine with radiation. And then many years later, I was watching Alex Jones, and I recommend to anybody out there never to watch Alex Jones. He wound me up, and I blew out my right eye with a central vein occlusion.
Oh, I see.
And then, of course, the allopathic medicines then recommend you get injections. So I did that, and it made my eyes worse. And then the next thing I know, I have a central vein occlusion in my left eye.
Oh, my.
So it's like progressively getting worse. And then they come up with a new injection for me to try. And so I did, because, I'm kind of a moron sometimes. And it just got worse. So I stopped bothering with them. And then a friend of mine told me, "Oh, you have to call Carolyn. You have to. You have to just talk to her. You have to ask." And she just ragged on me and ragged on me. So I started taking Remag, and it calmed me down radically. And I've been taking it religiously ever since. And then I've also tried out the. I've also noticed that it's the Pico Silver. Resolved some other issues that I was having, and I'm going, okay, well maybe these guys might know what they're doing, and so I decided to call. So right now, what I have is I can't read. I was a driver. I drove a truck. Can't drive. Can't drive a car. Can't read, and I feel like I'm walking around in a sauna most of the time. Everything's just real cloudy. But I feel great from the neck down.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. I mean, I can walk. I could walk right now 10 miles, no problem. I have, as long as I got my little Labrador to lead the way, I seem to be able to do okay that way. I just can't see anything.
Yeah. Well, I wrote a blog a while back. One of my relatives, she had a macular hole. Now, it's not what you've got, but what I ended up doing is doing a blog on what the eye needs. And if you look up this blog, it's called, what do you do about internet? Can you get audio on your internet? How do you read on the internet?
My wife are my eyes.
Okay. Then ask her to go to a blog called Treating Macular Degeneration and Macular Hole. And halfway down, I say, let's explore, what's in the eye. And there's water, so you can't get dehydrated. There's collagen, so you use your whey protein as a precursor to collagen. There's hyaluronic acid, which is dependent upon magnesium. There's peripheral cells that need minerals. There's inorganic salt, so you put your sea salt in your water. There's sugar that's broken down from our diet, and there's a lot of ascorbic acid. And especially when veins are involved, the vitamin C is very important. A food-based C and ascorbic acid together. Our whole C reset is not in yet, but there is a vitamin C that you could get in the meantime. It's a standard process, Cataplex C, that will heal veins and capillaries. So I think if you get your C up and get your sea salted water, no dehydration, you're taking your Remag, get your Realign going, along with this vitamin C, I think that will start to heal your eyes, because there are blueprints of what the cells in the eyes should be. They've got a bit obliterated with maybe some scarring from the central vein occlusion, etc. But the blueprint is still there. You just reactivate it by giving the body the building blocks that it requires.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say that's what I believe. It's not a belief. That's what I know.
Now we're talking. I like belief, because when you look, even though I couldn't see very well, and I'm asking doctors about the problem, they truly are clueless. Their body language shows just their eyes wander, their heads turn, they don't know what they're doing. and it's just it's creepy, you know. But I've had good health most of my life, so when I started seeing doctors, I was not experienced, and
right.
So,
right. Yeah. You didn't know how far they had devolved.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, the last doctor I remember getting that was really good was when I was like 5. You know, so it's like I'm hoping you're actually giving answers I hadn't even considered or thought about trying. So
right.
We'll give
and
it
the
a
other
shot.
thing is, John, I think you'd be open to this, you know, because I hear the philosophy behind your words. There's something called total biology that I've studied. It's the conflict basis of disease. And what they do is look at different body parts and say, well, what's that body part trying to tell me? And when you get something as kind of rare as what you've got in both eyes, somebody's trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
And
well, I can tell you that I'm probably one of the most uninformed people. I mean, I'm going on year 8 of no TV. I turned off TV. I don't have a cell phone. I don't. I'm a non-tech guy.
You sound like my Bob. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I was going to compete with him.
Yes.
I take the challenge.
Bob says he accepts the challenge. So with the eyes, what are you shutting out? What are you clouding over? What are you not trying to see? What has tried to force itself into your line of vision? Now, when you say that you watched, Buddy Alex Jones and blew your eye out, you did not want to hear, see, or feel any of the crap he was talking about.
That is correct.
So if that's your way of protecting yourself, that's not, forget
it's a little extreme.
A little extreme, yeah, exactly. So you don't need to do that anymore. Now, what you can do, and I think you'd find it, very enjoyable, you can talk with our total biology consultant. He's a medical doctor, Dr. David Holt. Everybody finds him, well, I wouldn't say. You're eligible or whatever through us to get a free consultation with him to see if he might be able to help you. He is a stand-up guy. He's always been pushing the envelope. He couldn't afford university, so he went into the military. He was afraid of heights, so he went into the Air Force.
Of course.
This guy is pushing to learn, to whatever. So when he's with a client, he gets down to, what's really going on. And I think it would be awesome for you to find out what your eyes do not want you to see.
That would be, right up my alley, actually.
Yeah. Awesome. So he's at Turnpoint Health. Is he at turnpointhealth.com, Jenny? Where is our buddy?
Yes, that's it. Turnpointhealth.com.
Yeah.
My wife's listening. Hopefully she's writing this all down.
Okay, great. Yeah, and you can get back to us, either on the show or through support at rnareset.com and let us know. But yeah, I have great hope for you with all that I've said and how receptive you've been to it. So onward and upward.
I'm very open to it. My wife likes you guys because she started doing the nano or the pico silver, and she was blowing her nose. We've lived here now for like 13 years, and I'd say 13 of those years were 2 trash cans of Kleenex, every 4 days. And the Pico Silver absolutely emptied her trash cans. And
oh my
I mean,
gosh.
it was really fast. I mean, it was working within, I don't know, a couple of days. And the Pico Silver worked real well with my gums.
Right.
I just stopped having any problems. Now, does Pico Silver, does it affect, does it act like antibiotics?
We're not allowed to say that it does, but it does. Really does.
I'm just wondering whether, like antibiotics, it doesn't kill like the
good stuff. No.
Yeah, the good stuff.
No, it doesn't. And another booklet of mine, free download, is about the Pico Silver. It's at drcarolyndeanlive.com, and it is quite amazing what the Pico Silver does. It actually stimulates stem cell production. So the Pico Silver can be helping you produce stem cells that would go on to become eyeball cells that you kind of lost with the vein blockage. So that's where you can get back with the building blocks.
Is it something that you would be able to put in directly?
Yeah, I've been doing that. I know people who've had, I was wondering how much I should mention of that.
Yeah, I know. It's like...
for eye infections, they've been dropping Pico Silver in their eyes, and certainly with animals, with the poor little animals with their crusty eyes, you can use Pico Silver. I do drop Pico Silver in my eyes. I also will put a drop of RNA reset drops in some saline and just rinse my eyes. I just do that once a week. When I first started doing that and was doing it every day, I started getting a lot of detoxing going on, and I didn't want it to go that fast.
Right.
So you can do stuff. You can do a lot of stuff.
Okay.
It's your full-time job now. Isn't it, John? It's your full-time job now, doing all this, right?
Yeah, no, it is my full-time job. Yes.
Yeah.
I do my walks in the morning or in the various times during the day, and then the rest of the time I'm listening to something about whatever I can find out about that doesn't. I mean, I basically look for people that are upbeat, and I listen to that sort of thing, and I'm tired. I mean, you can go anywhere on the internet and hear everything that's wrong, but no one's talking about what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, you found us, and that's all we do. I wrote one sort of book to sort of sum it all up: Death by Modern Medicine.
Yeah.
The rest of my books are all very positive. I'll have you know.
Well, very good. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. You're welcome, and the best to your wife too. You're very lucky to have someone who's got your back and your forehead.
Yeah, she is the best.
Very good. Okay, John, take care.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Wonderful. What elegant and beautiful callers we've had tonight, Carolyn. I think we have time to throw in one more real quick. I want to get to this question. Somebody's asking you, Carolyn, in honor of 420. You know what 420 is, Carolyn? That's the special magical marijuana day. Do you have any words on marijuana? Is it the best of all the vices?
Why do a vice at all? I think we're going to be shocked with what we find out about the side effects of marijuana, especially when it's smoked. It has tar. It's going to affect the lungs. It's affecting the brain. I'm not in favor of it. So don't ask me to give any support for marijuana. It's like when Sandy asked last week, well, can't we have a little bit of sugar? What about? And I can't do that. And, I know a lot of people are the same. You have a dessert or bag of something in the house, it's going to be gone. And at this point in time, I want to keep my immune system really healthy. I will eat fruit. I love fruit. I probably eat too much, but these vices, I mean, if people are using marijuana to calm themselves in the midst of this crisis, make sure you're saturated with magnesium first, and then you won't need so much. It's less costly, too, I'm sure. So there.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, less costly. And also it's a little confusing because, people think it's an actual treatment for the body, and I'm not sure about that either. Somebody wrote in on the chat line, too, about waiting for your order. If you're waiting for your order, you've got to email support, SUPPORT, at RNAreset.com. I don't have any access to that information, but go ahead and just email the support team, and they'll research your order for you. Be sure to give them your name and the order date, and they'll find out for you where it is. International shipping is kind of a nightmare right now, but we'll keep our fingers crossed as well. That wraps up our show, Carolyn. We don't have time for any more callers. I'm sorry, Michael. I see you on there. Be sure to call in early next time. And thank you, Carolyn, for your incredible treasury of wisdom.
Oh, thank you. We had some awesome marathon calls. I agree, but look how many topics we covered with Jonathan and Amy and John. I thought it was a fabulous show, and I appreciate everybody who's listening. Thank you, Ginny. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Ginny.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody.
You've been listening to Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's show, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.